plane hadn't even left the runway when Zara Whitmore realized how exhausted she truly was. Her head felt heavy, her heartbeat uneven, and for the first time in years, the pressure of running an entire corporation felt like it was crushing her from the inside. She had built Whitmore Innovations from a two-person idea into a globally recognized tech empire, but now, somewhere between endless boardroom battles, betrayal from a trusted partner, and sleepless nights filled with self-doubt, her body could no longer keep up. She tried closing her eyes just to calm the storm inside her chest, but the world spun, and before she could pull herself back into the shell of control she always wore, her head slowly drifted sideways until it landed gently on someone's shoulder. She jerked awake, ready to apologize, but what happened next mid-flight left her breathless, shaken, and strangely hopeful. If you believe in kindness, compassion, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Stories of Kindness. Your support keeps these heartfelt stories alive. Zara tried to compose herself, but the steady rise and fall of the stranger's breathing beside her soothed something in her. The man didn't move away. He didn't shift uncomfortably. He simply remained still, as if allowing a complete stranger, an exhausted CEO dressed in a crisp white blazer and a reputation of ice, to find a moment of peace. Sunlight filtered through the window, spilling across his arm and revealing the shape of a small child sleeping in his lap. The man looked rugged yet gentle, his sandy brown hair messy as though he had hurried to board the flight, and his grey t-shirt wrinkled from what must have been a long morning. The little girl curled against him was no older than 4 or 5, wearing a pink dress covered in tiny white stars, her cheeks round and rosy. The man cradled her with one protective arm, while holding a children's storybook in the other hand, open but unread, as though he had been trying to entertain her until she drifted off. Zara felt her throat tighten. Something about the scene pricked her heart, its softness, its simplicity, its warmth, things she no longer had in her life, things she had learned to replace with deadlines, reports, investor meetings, and the cold safety of professionalism. She tried to sit up, embarrassed by her moment of weakness, but the man gently whispered, not in words, but in the calm, non-verbal gesture of offering his shoulder again, that it was okay. His presence felt steady, grounding, unlike the world she came from where every gesture had a motive and every smile was part of a deal. Slowly, hesitantly, she allowed herself to lean back for just a moment. It had been years since she rested without fear of missing something important. Years since anyone had made her feel safe enough to. As the plane ascended into clear daylight skies, the hum of the engines blended with the soft breathing of the child and the steady silence of the man. It was peaceful in a way Zara had forgotten peace could feel. Her mind drifted between the chaos she had left behind and the unexpected comfort beside her. For too long she had believed that collapsing, even for a second, would make her weak. Yet now, resting against a stranger's shoulder, she felt a strange wave of strength returning, as if her heart finally remembered how to beat without armor. When she finally opened her eyes, she found the man looking at her with a calm, reassuring expression. They didn't speak, but she noticed the fatigue hidden beneath his kindness. He wasn't wealthy or polished. His hands had tiny marks, the kind someone gets from working with tools or handling daily struggles without help. The child stirred, clutching his shirt, and he responded by gently stroking her hair with a tenderness that told Zara everything she needed to know. He was a single father doing his best. Zara felt a sudden ache. She had grown up with everything money could buy, but the one thing she never truly had was unconditional love. Her father had been a businessman whose affection existed only in percentages and growth projections. Her mother had been a distant beauty who floated through charity galas like a ghost. Zara had spent her life learning how to be successful, but never how to be soft. and in one accidental moment on a flight, resting on a stranger's shoulder, she realized how starved her soul was for human connection. The flight attendant approached, offering drinks. The little girl woke up, rubbing her eyes, and looked up at her father with an innocence that made Zara's heart twist. The man handed the girl a small box of apple juice but refused one for himself with a polite shake of his head. At first, Zara didn't understand, until she noticed the price on the menu sheet tucked into the seat back pocket. He was saving every bit he could, for his daughter, for their life, for whatever future he was trying to build for her. Zara usually avoided observing people. Years of leadership taught her to focus on goals, not on emotions. Yet she found herself wanting to know this man's story, what battles he carried, what pain he tucked behind that gentle smile. Something about him felt raw, real, and unfiltered by society's masks. His daughter leaned toward Zara suddenly, offering her a sticker from a sheet she had been playing with. Zara blinked in surprise. Children rarely approached her. She was always too intimidating, too cold. Yet this little girl, with her big brown eyes and tiny dimpled hands, reached out as if she sensed something fragile inside Zara that needed healing. The man mouthed a silent apology, but Zara smiled, an unfamiliar, genuine smile that warmed her own cheeks. She accepted the sticker, a small yellow sun, and placed it on her notebook. The child giggled, happy with the exchange, and Zara felt a spark inside her chest, something she thought she had lost forever: softness. The flight continued peacefully, until sudden turbulence shook the cabin, jolting passengers and waking nerves. The little girl tensed, frightened, reaching anxiously for her father. He held her close, whispering comfort in her ear, but she was trembling. Zara instinctively reached out, gently touching the little girl's hand. The child clung to her fingers, and in that moment, all walls collapsed. Zara heard herself softly reassuring the little girl, telling her everything would be okay. She didn't know where the words came from, but they poured out naturally, as if a buried part of her had finally resurfaced. When the turbulence faded, the child relaxed, now holding Zara's hand, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. The man looked at Zara with gratitude so pure it made her look away, suddenly overwhelmed. No boardroom, no investor, no politician had ever looked at her with such sincere appreciation. As daylight brightened the cabin, he reached into his bag, pulling out a worn binder filled with papers, job applications, training certificates, rejection letters. Zara recognized the desperation in every creased page. He was searching for stable work, but struggling to find a place that accepted him as a single father, balancing childcare with long shifts. She felt her heart tighten again. She had the power to change lives with a single signature, a single opportunity. Yet she had never thought beyond numbers and performance metrics. She had never considered how many people like him fought quietly, invisibly, for a chance. Her phone vibrated, a message from her board, another complaint, another crisis, another reason her world always felt like it was collapsing. She stared at the screen, then slowly locked it, turning toward the man and child instead. For the first time in years, she chose humanity over responsibility. The plane began its descent, passengers prepared for landing, but Zara felt something shift inside her, a clarity she had been missing. She reached into her bag, pulled out her business card and placed it in his hand. His brows lifted slightly, uncertain. She nodded gently, encouraging him to keep it. She didn't speak a promise, but she knew she would try to help. Something about this encounter had awakened her heart in ways she did not understand yet. The plane touched down with a smooth glide across the runway, sunlight pouring into the cabin like a blessing. As they stood to disembark, the little girl reached up, wrapping her tiny arms around Zara in a spontaneous hug. Zara froze, then slowly bent down, hugging the child back, feeling something inside her chest break open. The man thanked her softly, not with words, but with eyes filled with emotion. Zara smiled, trying to keep her voice steady as she whispered that he wasn't alone, that good days were coming. Before the ending of this story, please leave a heartfelt comment about the moment that touched you the most. She stepped off the plane with a weight she didn't realize she had been carrying now lifted. She didn't know what fate had planned when she accidentally fell asleep on a stranger's shoulder, but she knew the encounter had shifted her perspective forever. It reminded her that power meant nothing without humanity, that strength meant nothing without heart, and that sometimes destiny placed the right people beside us when we least expected it. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Stories of Kindness. Your engagement brings more emotional stories to life and supports the message of compassion in our world. Zara walked into the bright day carrying one small yellow sun sticker on her notebook and a heart newly awakened to kindness, hope, and second chances.